right? The freedom. That feeling of being able to just do what you want when you want without always checking your bank balance first. You know what I mean? We all think about it like traveling the world or finally getting to those creative projects, maybe even early retirement. But then there's this feeling that real freedom, like true freedom, is only for people with money. So is that just like being cynical, or is there something more to it?
It's definitely more than just cynicism. Money really does unlock choices, and those choices, they really impact how free we feel.
Okay, so let's like unpack this whole money and freedom thing. Who feels this like lack of freedom the most? The stuff we were looking at paints a pretty serious picture of different groups who are struggling with money problems.
Totally. And the first group that comes to mind is the working class. People working so hard but just getting by. They're living paycheck to paycheck, always worried about rent and food and just keeping the lights on. There's no room for any mistakes or anything.
It's like they're running on a treadmill that's not even plugged in, going nowhere. I remember when I was starting out, I had like a million jobs just to keep my head above water. It was so stressful, and any unexpected expense felt like the end of the world.
That constant pressure, that fear of like falling behind, it takes away your freedom. You can't take risks or go after new opportunities. You can't even
And
relax.
it's not just about stuff, it's like mental and emotional. Money problems take a toll on you. You're always on edge, always thinking about the next bill, the next thing that could go wrong.
Right. And that stress affects every relationships, health, everything. It's like carrying a weight around all the time.
So working class people are definitely feeling it, but what about those who are like a step above? The source material also talks about how lower middle class families are struggling too.
Yeah, they might not be in poverty, but they're not exactly comfortable either. They're earning enough to get by, but not enough to really live.
They're one medical emergency away from disaster, or one car breakdown, or losing their job. It's like walking a tightrope with no safety net.
Exactly. And that fear of falling can paralyze you. They might have big dreams, like starting a business or going back to school or taking a family vacation. They're too scared to take the risk because if they fail, it could be really bad.
So they get stuck, unable to move forward, like they're in a cage made of financial worries.
And then there are entrepreneurs and free rangers. Everyone thinks they have all the freedom in the world, setting their own hours, being their own boss. But honestly, the reality is actually pretty different.
You're telling me I have so many friends who are freelancers, and they're always hustling for new clients, juggling projects, never knowing when the next paycheck is coming. It's a roller coaster.
The lack of a steady paycheck and the pressure to always be working and the worry about finding clients, it's tough.
And no benefits either. Like health insurance and paid time off, that makes things even more unstable.
It's like juggling chainsaws on a tightrope. One wrong move and it's over. Then there are young adults and students, starting their adult lives already in debt from student loans, trying to find a job and afford basic things like housing and healthcare.
It's like they're being set up to fail right from the start. I remember graduating with so much debt, it felt like this giant weight on my shoulders for years.
Yeah, that debt can be a real burden. It makes you put off big life things like buying a house, getting married, starting a family, going after your dreams. You end up making choices based on money, not on what you actually want.
And of course, we can't forget about the most vulnerable group, the people living in poverty. For them, the lack of freedom is even worse.
When you're struggling to just survive to get food and shelter and clothing, freedom is just not even a thought.
You're not thinking about vacations or anything like that. You're wondering where your next meal is coming from, if you'll have a roof over your head, if you can keep your kids warm.
Their only choices are about survival. That's really sad. So we see this pattern with all these groups, from the working class to those in poverty. Not having financial security limits their choices and takes away their freedom.
It all comes down to the same thing. Money gives you choices.
And if you do have money, your choices are really limited.
So just how deep does this connection between money and choices really go? The source material looks at some specific areas of life where money seems to make all the difference.
So we were talking about how having money or not having enough really changes the choices we can make and how free we feel.
Yeah, and it's not just like big obvious things like a house or traveling. It's like everyday stuff starts to feel impossible. The source material talked about healthcare education where you can live, even just like free time. Those are areas where money makes a huge difference.
For sure. Like healthcare, imagine needing to see a doctor, but you're too scared to go because of the bill. It's real for a lot of people. They put off treatment, they skip checkups, they even try to make their medicine last longer because they just can't afford it.
So it's like their health depends on their bank account. I've been there. Totally stressing over every copay and prescription refill. And it's not just the bills, it's missing work and paying for childcare and feeling like your own body is letting you down, but you can't fix it.
Yeah, it's a terrible cycle. And then there are people with money who can see the best doctors and specialists and get preventative care. They don't think twice about getting treatment and they can put their health first. It's a crazy
It's
difference.
like two different worlds. And the source material also talked about how education does the same thing. It creates this gap.
Absolutely. Just think about the cost of education. College is so expensive for a lot of people. It's either impossible or means taking on a ton of debt. And even before college, wealthier families can afford permit schools and tutors and extra classes. So their kids are already ahead while others are struggling to catch up.
So the playing field isn't even level from the start. And the source material talked about more than just school. It talked about being free to learn throughout your life, to try new things and gain new skills. If you're working all the time just to survive, how can you do that?
Exactly. That's where free time comes in. For a lot of people, leisure time is a luxury, vacations, hobbies, even just reading a book or going for a walk. They just don't have the time or energy.
It's like survival mode all the time, putting out fires with no space for anything else. I remember when I was working so much, I literally forgot what I even liked to do for fun. It was a wake-up call.
And meanwhile, people with financial freedom can make time for those things. They can travel and be creative and take care of themselves. They have the time and resources to invest in themselves. And that opens up so many possibilities.
So it's not just about having the money. It's about what you can do with it, how you can live your life. And the source material mentioned something that really hit home for me. Location.
Location, 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 right? It's true for real estate and it's also true for this freedom gap. If you're struggling financially, you can't always choose where to live. You might be stuck in a neighborhood with high crime or bad schools or no
Or
jobs.
even if you get a good job, you might not be able to afford to live near it. So you have a long commute, which takes time and money from your day.
And it's not just about the practical stuff. Location can also affect your sense of community and your access to nature and culture and opportunities.
It's like your zip code determines your life in a lot of ways. And people with money can choose where they want to live based on what they like, not just what they can afford. They can create a life that matches their values.
So we see how this connection between money and choices shows up everywhere from healthcare to education to location to free time. It can feel really overwhelming.
Totally. And that brings us to the question, what can we actually do about it? The source material doesn't just complain about the problem. It gives us some steps to take back our financial freedom no matter how much we earn.
Right? It starts with changing our mindset. One of the most radical ideas is this idea of enough.
Enough. What does that even mean in a world that's always telling us to buy more and want more?
It's about fighting back against that message. It's about asking yourself, what really makes me happy? What do I really need to feel good and secure?
It's about getting off the treadmill of always wanting more. I remember when I was stuck in that cycle, it was exhausting. Clothes I never wore, gadgets I didn't use, and credit card bills that kept me up at night.
And were you actually happier with all that stuff?
Not really. I didn't start to feel free until I got rid of stuff, simplified my life, and focused on experiences instead of things.
That's what enough is about, finding contentment with what you have, enjoying the simple things, and not needing to impress people with stuff.
It's about realizing that real happiness comes from inside, not from things. And that change in mindset could be really freeing financially and emotionally.
It lets you escape from always wanting more. You can stop chasing things and focus on what really matters.
And that leads us to the next step, financial literacy. We need to understand money if we want to control our financial future. The source material doesn't just say save more or spend less. It tells us to get smart about money.
Knowledge is power, right? Especially with money. We need to learn about budgeting, saving, investing, managing debt. We need to know the rules of the game so we can win.
And it's not just the technical stuff. It's about having a healthy relationship with money, one that's not based on fear. I used to be so scared to even look at my bank statements. It felt like this monster I couldn't control.
Yeah, we're often told not to talk about money to be ashamed of our money problems, but the more we ignore it, the more power it has over us.
It's like we're letting our finances control us instead of the other way around.
Exactly. Financial literacy is about taking control and making your own
It's
decisions.
about knowing where your money is going, setting goals, and making choices that make sense for you.
It's about getting rid of those thoughts and habits that have been holding you back and feeling empowered.
I like that. And speaking of empowerment, the source material also talks about creating multiple streams of income. That's another way to boost financial freedom.
It's about having different sources of money, creating a safety net, and opening up opportunities.
So it's not just about working harder at our jobs. It's about being creative and finding new ways to earn money.
And it doesn't have to be some big scary thing. It could be a side hustle, freelancing investing, starting a small business.
And the great thing is it gives you more control and flexibility. You're not relying on just one paycheck, so you have more choices and less fear.
And a lot of times those extra streams of income can use your talents and passions in ways your main job doesn't. It's about creating a life that's more fulfilling and financially rewarding.
This is starting to feel less like a lecture and more like we're cheering on our finances. I'm getting pumped to take charge.
That's the attitude, and one of the best tools we have is negotiation. The source material really stresses that we need to get good at standing up for ourselves, asking for what we want, and not being afraid to push back.
Yeah, negotiation can be scary, especially when it comes to money, but the source material says it's super important for financial freedom.
Think about it, negotiating a lower rent or a higher salary or a better interest rate, those small wins can really add up.
And it's not just about the money. It's about feeling confident, knowing your worth, and realizing you deserve to be treated fairly when it comes to money.
It's about changing from being passive with money to being active and involved.
Like you're the CEO of your own finances.
Exactly. And when you start thinking like that, you realize you have the power to negotiate, make deals, and create opportunities.
Okay, so we've got a good foundation here. Embrace enough, learn about money, create multiple income streams, and negotiate. But let's be real, it's not always going to be easy. There will be challenges.
Absolutely. Building financial freedom is a journey, not a finish line. There will be setbacks, unexpected expenses, changes in the market times when you doubt yourself.
So how do we stay motivated and on track when things get tough? The source material has some advice on that too. Okay, so welcome back. We've been getting deep into this whole financial freedom thing, how it connects to the choices we have, where the system might be holding us back, and how we can change our mindset to get on the right path.
And now we want to get down to brass tacks. Let's talk about investing. And I know for a lot of people, investing sounds scary, like it's only for rich people. But the stuff we've been looking at says anyone can learn to invest and build real wealth.
I love that. It's like leveling the playing field, giving everyone a chance to build a better future. But how do we even start? What are the basics of smart investing?
First, forget about getting rich quick. Investing is about the long game. It's about being patient and consistent and letting your money grow over time. It's like planting a tree. You don't expect a tree to give you fruit the next day, right? You take care of it, you give it time, and eventually you get the rewards.
That's such a good way to think about it. It takes the pressure off, But there are so many ways to invest. How do we even know where to put our money?
That's where diversification comes in. Don't put all your money in one place. Spread it out. Stocks, bonds, real estate, maybe even some things like gold or crypto.
So it's about having a mix of investments that can handle the ups and downs of the market. But how do you decide how much to put in each one?
That depends on how much risk you're comfortable with, how long you want to invest for, and what your goals are. Someone younger with more time might put more money in stocks because they could grow faster, but they're also riskier.
And someone closer to retirement might want to protect their money and earn some income, so they might choose bonds.
Right. And it's not a one-time thing. Your investments should change as your life changes. Keep an eye on your portfolio, rebalance things, and don't be scared to adjust your strategy based on what's happening in the market and what you need.
So investing is like an ongoing thing. You're always learning. It's not just about picking the right stock. It's about understanding how the market works, knowing how to manage risk, and staying informed.
For sure, and one of the biggest mistakes is letting your emotions control your decisions. Fear and greed can make you buy or sell at the wrong time, and that can hurt you in the long run.
Like that saying, buy high, sell low, doing the opposite of what you should do. How do we avoid those emotional traps?
Having a plan helps. Write down your goals, how much risk you can handle, and your investment strategy, and then stick to it. Don't let the market freak you out.
Like a roadmap for your money to guide you through the ups and downs.
Right, and don't be afraid to ask for help. A financial advisor can help you make a plan and give you advice, especially when you're feeling emotional.
That could be really helpful, especially for people who are new to investing. But besides the technical stuff, the source material talked about something really interesting, making sure your investments match your values.
Yeah, it's called socially responsible investing or impact investing. It's becoming really popular. It's the idea that you can use your money to support businesses and causes that are doing good things in the world.
So it's not just about making money, it's about making a difference with your money.
Right? There are funds that invest in clean energy, sustainable farming, fair labor practices, gender equality, so many options.
That's amazing. It's about realizing that our investments can do more than just make us richer. They can change how companies behave, support new ideas, and help create a better world.
It's about matching your money with what you believe in and making a positive impact.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into financial freedom, I'm feeling hopeful. Sure, there are challenges and it can be tough, But we've also learned that we have more control than we think.
We can change our mindset, learn about money, create multiple income streams, be good negotiators, invest wisely, and make financial choices that match our values.
It's about taking charge of our financial future, getting rid of those limiting beliefs and behaviors, and stepping into a place of power and abundance.
Financial freedom is a journey, not a destination, and anyone can start that journey no matter where they are right now. So take that first step, educate yourself, start investing, and never stop believing in yourself.
That's a great way to end this conversation. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into financial freedom. We hope you learned something, felt empowered, and maybe even got inspired to make some changes. Until next time.
Money, yeah, yeah. Come on now, money brings freedom. The rich speaking their own language, the profits of currency, every culture translate. And exchange ain't for me, damn, we just needed some money. Full of world hunger, it ain't never about food. Swindle nobody, it's a scammer in you. Trying to show love to a world full of malice, they ain't never that you're good without proof. The knowledge is leaky, you just need someone to guide you. Forward is purchasable, no one around to advise you. Time is fleeting, rushing just needs something in place. But time is different now, thank you for slowing the race. Down to you, ooh, oh, ooh, yeah. I'ma talk. Without money, you have not freedom. Freedom is a right reserved only for the wealthy. Give it to me like speaking their own language. The profits of the currency, back it up now. Every culture translate, let me tell you, an exchange ain't for me. Without money, you have not freedom. Tell me like, freedom is a right reserved only for the wealthy. The rich speaking their own language, profit of currency, every culture translate, an exchange ain't for me, nah. Visa path all way up, which way? Countdown on a 6-6, cooler than blue with faith in God, and won't blame nobody if you don't. Yo, jam your updates on pack way, the oppressor in the drugs, no freedom, no love. Yo, hate me, diasporas and the blacks, the powers in the rats, no freedom, no love. This numbers just reveals truth they conceal from them. Can't put a hole in my soul like a steel drummer. My life is real, but I still run it, yeah. Without path all way up, which way? Countdown on a 6-6, cooler than blue, with faith in God, and won't blame nobody if you don't. Yo, jam your updates on pack way, the oppressor in the drugs, no freedom, no love. Yo, hating me, diasporas and the blacks, the powers in the rats, no freedom, no love. This numbers just reveals truth they conceal from them. Can't put a hole in my soul like a steel drummer. My life is real, but I still run it. Without money, you have not freedom. Freedom is a right reserved only for the wealthy. Give it to me like speaking their own language. The prophets know the currency, back it up now. Every culture translate, let me tell you, an exchange ain't for me, no, yeah.